Happy New Year for 2025. I wanted to start with one of my favorite birds, the red-winged blackbird. As you guys know, I was a flower photographer and landscape photographer for probably the last 4 years prior to 2024. Then one day, my former coworker Tommy came and asked me if I wanted to go to a wildlife refuge with him when I picked up a Sony A7R4. Being a cocky guy I am, knowing I can do some landscape and some flower photography, I thought, birds, lands, wildlife, it's not going to be that hard. But it was such a frustrating time of my life. It's like the first time you pick something up and don't know how to use it, and you have to go through the trials and errors to learn how to use something. So I did, and I'm telling you right now, it was quite a job. It's like having a second full-time job, learning how to photograph wildlife. Because when Tommy took me up to the wildlife refuge, I took over 1,000 photos. And I will honestly tell you that maybe only 10 photos out of the 1,000 or plus that I took actually looked decent. The rest of them, I wouldn't even show them to my mom. I wouldn't show them to my brother. I wouldn't show them to anybody because they were so blurry. I felt like my vision was going bad. And, I made a lot of videos recently with my Sony A7R4 and 4K, and haven't had time to process them yet because I've been doing a lot of photography, getting rust out, kinks out, driving around, traveling here or there. But just to let you guys know, I did add several lenses to my inventory over 2024. And now that we're entering 2025, I'll let you guys know I picked up a Sigma sport lens, 150 to 600 millimeter. That's what I use for mostly a lot of stuff, actually. Flowers, macro, birds, any wildlife. But, I still use some other lenses as well. But I did pick up a Sigma 30 millimeter f1.4 for my birthday. And I picked up an 85 millimeter f1.8 for, doing portraits or wedding photography. People want me to follow them around. And this kitty here, that kitties, they were taken with the Sigma f1.4. And if you didn't notice, the bokeh behind it was absolutely gorgeous. I really love those kitty pictures. And the brown cat is actually, I thinks it lives with us now because hangs out at my front of my home. And that kitty is an awesome kitty. I don't know what we're going to name it, but she responds to pretty much anything we tell her. But anyway, I also, I still have my two Sony lenses that I had before. One's a Zeiss 16 to 35 and 24 to 240. And, I just want to say thank you to every single person that has been supportive with me on this path I've been going through to become a better photographer and maybe someday a professional photographer if it's deemed I'll be good enough to do that. But I wanted to take time, to show you guys a lot of my work that I did this year, and unfortunately I can't fit it all in, as I have thousands and thousands upon thousands of photos that I just can't compile them all into a video. But you guys are getting the ones that are, readily available on my phone to make this video. And, I am so inspired by having so many people that are around me that care about me, that support me. And if I do bad photos, they very quick to scrutinize me and, give me constructive criticism, not negative criticism. But they tell me if something looks beautiful or if it looks horrible. And, I still love landscape photography. And, this hopefully 2025 will be better for me to do more landscape photography because last year I was living in Vancouver, Washington, which was very difficult for me to get out because I hate traffic. I hate driving in a busy traffic all the time. So the best I could do is go to the wildlife refuge each week just to practice my photography and try to learn how to photograph birds. Because when my friend Tommy took me up to the wildlife refuge, and I told you that I took all those photos, well, I practiced almost every week since then. And as you can see by the photos, if they're not very sharp, those are probably early in my year of 2024. But the sharper they get is closer to now, because I can go out now and I can take a lot more sharper photos of birds. And I learned that the sweet spot for my camera is f8, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, okay, f8. I'm running an 800 ISO, and shutter speed has to vary. If something's sitting still and it's not really moving, because birds, they tend to sit there and move around in the nest. I mean, I've been able to drop down to 320th of a second to take photos while birds are just sitting there. But I find that they're kind of blurry photos, so I speed it up to 640 or just keep adding on and take multiple photos until I get the settings dialed in. And, I like to just let you know that, I've been working hard with my Sony to perfect it like I did with my old Canon. But with my old Canon, I wasn't taking photos of wildlife. I was just taking photos of landscape and flowers, stuff like that. And, it was a job in its own. And hope that, because I'm living in Longview again, it's about an hour and 20-minute drive to Astoria, and maybe an hour 30 minutes, no, maybe an hour and 35 minutes to Cannon Beach. It's about maybe hour and 15-minute drive to Long Beach, Washington. So I can get to the coast pretty quick. And then if I want to go up in the mountains, my friend Paul Mobley, he lets me go up and photograph mushrooms at his house. So he has a lot of woodland. You saw the forest with a road going through a little earlier, and those were taken at his house. So he has a lot of area. And, if you continue up the road where he lives, it gives you a gorgeous view of Mount St. Helens, or actually Mount Hood from that area. And, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supported me through 2024 and before. Without all your guys' support, I don't think I would, have had the patience and the motivation to continue to keep going. Because I'm telling you right now, wildlife photography, I almost quit taking photos after first couple of weeks of taking photos because my photos suck so horribly. But I also like to give a shout out to a few YouTubers that I followed, but they don't, I don't really communicate with them. But Mads Iverson for my landscape, Gavin Hardcastle for my photography for landscape, for my wildlife photography, Owen Knutson, and the main one I follow all the time is Simon D'Entremont. He's a Canadian, but he's a one hell of a wildlife photographer, and I've learned so much about my camera, even though he uses a Canon, I use a Sony. I like to give credit to those guys for, making the videos they did so that I could learn from the way they do things. And then I had to adapt it into my own methodology. But as you can see, I've become a better wildlife photographer because, I watched a lot of videos, learned a lot, studied a lot, had to learn about composition, had to learn about, different settings on a camera. And like I said, it's been a lot of work. And, I'm just grateful for this opportunity because there's a lot of people that don't get to go out and go to the places I do. And since they're not able to, I would love to give them photos to see the places I do, to see the world through my eyes, to see the world through my lens. And that's what I try to do each and every time. And as Mads Iverson once said in one of his YouTube videos, he said, each photographer and each artist makes the art theirs by their own creativity. And that's what I've been doing with my own photography, is creating my own art. And some artists, they use a brush, some use a pencil, some use a pen. But, my paintbrush is my Sony A7R4. And, if Yongnu ever creates a long range lens, I would love to buy one of them from them. So, wish everybody Happy New Year and God bless and take care. And thanks for your follow and support.